Hello, everybody. I hope you had a great weekend this weekend. It's been pretty busy for me. Um, Tonight on the Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal, we have a wonderful guest that I've met. She's very talented in several things, and she was a guest on the Don Vick Showdown Challenge and was a singer as well when I was a judge. And we got to talking about some stuff, and she is actually into the paranormal as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about her experience and some of the things that she does. And she is also a actress, so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So without further ado, this is Ms. Mary Spezia. I know. I told you I tried not to chop it up.
It's all right.
I tried.
You are not the only one, so please do not feel bad.
Yeah, just hit me through the screen. We had this little talk a little while ago. You know what you can do now.
It's fine. It's totally fine. Just however you want to say it, it's fine.
I tried really hard to pronounce it right.
It's okay.
I'm going to flash some of her stuff here on the bottom of the page so you can see where you can find her. So, Mary.
Yes.
What got you into the paranormal?
Oh, that's a really good question. My best friend Tiffany actually she catapulted me into it. I've always been drawn to it since I was a kid. Practical Magic was my favorite movie. Still is. And 11, 12. I'm trying to
magic in general back then, I think, was everybody's intrigue.
Exactly. Like my friend Adam was all about Buffy, and we were just the kids that loved all the witchy stuff, and like I loved Hocus Pocus. I was always drawn. I felt like that was a natural thing for me. It just felt right. So when I was 19, my friend Tiffany took me to McPike Mansion in Alton, Illinois for the first time. And there was a shaman there. And I was at the corner of the house looking up at one of the top 3 windows. And I just started getting this real awful headache. And I was kind of just like, rubbing my head. And he walks up and he's like, "Hi, I'm Chris. It's nice to meet you." And I was like, "It's nice to meet you too. So it's your first time." Da, da, da. And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, did you get a weird feeling when you looked up at that window?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's just like all of a sudden my head started hurting really bad." And he's like, "Huh." And I look at him and I'm like, "Does that mean something?" And he's like, "I think you're a little more sensitive to this than you think you are." And he just walks away. I'm like, "You can't leave me with that. What do I do with that?"
Leave you hanging.
So, I mean, and there I had some pretty good experiences. The children spirits really love playing around with sometimes they'll run around at night and bang on the tents because you have campouts there during this time period. They like to lock people out of the porta potties, and just there's a lot of fun. And we were doing a dowsing rod session back by the children's crypt, and I was just kind of sitting there with my hands in my hoodie, just feeling it out because this was my first paranormal experience, and I was still getting the lay of the land. And they asked a specific question that said, because they were asking the kids questions, and they asked if there was anybody in particular they wanted to stay so that they could stay and play. Right. Every rod in that group pointed directly towards me, and I was like, "I'm out of here." And I bolted right out the path. I was so not ready for any of that, but it happened, and then it got me curious, and I started looking into my gifts and all of that stuff. So
I guess my next question would be, how did that make you feel?
At first I was scared, but when I had my major experience there, that was my eye opener. And it really made me feel like I was actually meant to connect with these people, to help them, some of them to help them pass, but just to feel acknowledged. because most people are like, oh my gosh, they won't leave me alone and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just acknowledge them. If you just acknowledge them and let them know, hey, I know you're here. Please stop bothering me. It'll calm the activity down. Or you can ask them to politely leave or move on because this is your house now. And, it gave me a new understanding of myself. And it made me feel like I figured out a big chunk of myself that was a huge mystery to me for such a long time. And now, like, everything's starting to make sense the more I learn about my spirituality.
So it all starts falling into place.
Exactly. Exactly.
We had that little discussion before the show. How did your friends treat you at the time? Did you have friends that actually liked it or just thought you were weird?
You know what? I didn't really talk about it with anybody aside from my friend Tiffany, who got me involved in it in the first place. And after that, I would start just having conversations with people because I'm a hairstylist too. So you tend to get to know people when you're in that position. And it's kind of like reading the room. And the people I knew would be cool with it, I would talk to them about it. But the people I knew were not going to be okay with that, I just didn't even open up about it because it can, some people don't like that stuff. And I'm not trying to push people to understand it if they don't want to. So it's their thing. This is but bringing it up to my parents was kind of a fun thing.
I think today it's more acceptable than it was when we were younger.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, back then they made the movies like Ouija board and everything and made everything so scary and so, oh, this is bad, and then you're growing up and starting to learn stuff and it's like,
it's really not.
Now you're learning all this cool stuff. And I was like, and this was bad. Yeah, but
I know it's actually a really amazing thing to learn about yourself because this isn't a movie. It's not special effects and it's not CGI or, tricks of the camera. It's your everyday real life. And it's how you live. And I'm like, it's not a bad thing. But like I watched a documentary on Prime. I think it was called The Witches of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And it totally just touches on this subject of how the connotation came in. And it talks about women, if they wanted a family and to be in love, they had to give up everything that was magical about themselves. They had to give away their power in order to be normal and have the husband and the kids. And I'm like, oh, all of that right now. I'm like, hell no. It's like, I'm finally starting to come into my power. And if I have to give that up for someone, that is not for me. Because no.
I agree. I've made the comment if I start seeing anybody again that they kind of got to fall into this field somewhere. It's got to it's got to be.
And if they don't, that's fine. But don't try to make me give it up to suit your life. Like, I mean, if we mesh, we mesh. But don't make me give up a part of who and what I am.
I think it would be my personal opinion with that. I think it'd be great if you actually had it in common.
Yeah, it would.
Because you definitely will grow together as in a lot of ways. And
that's definitely a soulmate connection there.
I've definitely noticed when you hang around people that are alike, mm-hmm. you pick up more things as well.
Exactly.
It's like an energy switch, it helps each other out.
And it's exactly it. It's not trying to stifle or change yourself in any way, shape, or form or the other person. You're actually learning and growing together and teaching each other things about each other that you wouldn't have learned necessarily if you weren't in the relationship together.
Very true.
So I think that's a really amazing connection if that's something you could find. But
that'd be kind of like a needle in a haystack, you think?
I always get that question. When is my person coming? Can't dictate that for you. I could give you a timeline. However, you and that person both have free will.
Exactly. And
I can tell you all the things under the sun you want to hear, but if you do something to alter that timeline, it's going to invalidate the things that I tell you.
Well, and then if you actually tell them,
Mm-hmm.
it changes their destiny, and that's not cool.
And that's not my place either. So, because it's supposed to be in the universe's time, not ours. It's not my judgment call to tell you these things, because if you were to know, you would know already. So I can predict things for you, and I can probably come up with something for you, but it's not for me to actually dig in and give you numbers and da-da-da. It's like winning the lottery and helping everybody around you with the money.
Right.
You were meant to win that money for a reason. The reason those other people haven't won the money is because they're on a separate journey from you, and you giving them a huge chunk of cash could alter what their lesson is supposed to be.
Very true.
So it's very tricky how to play these things, because when you want to manifest something, it has to be for your own personal intention, not for other people, because you could be altering somebody's destiny or their timeline.
It very well, exactly. And
so I just choose not to dabble in like love curses or spells or I don't. It's not my business to tamper with that.
It's like the old saying goes, there's people that come into your life at certain periods of time. They're there to either teach you or you learn from it, or you're there to teach them and help them.
Exactly.
And you cannot give them their future, because you cannot tamper with their destiny.
Exactly.
Because that'd be karma back on you as well.
Exactly. I mean, because anything you put out there as a spellcaster, or something to that nature, you have to really be careful with what you put out there, because the whole rule times 3, it could come back on you threefold, and not necessarily for the better. And just messing with things, like when I put intentions, it's only asking what my purpose is. If send me my soulmate, not naming anybody in particular, because that can be really bad. And then when you get that person, not saying, let's say it works, you would never know if it was because of that, or they truly do want you.
Or it is there, but then, like you say, they've got will. Is it going to work out to how it is, or is it going to change? Or are they there again to teach you something to move on to the next phase?
Exactly. Or it's the whole be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
It could wind up going very badly, and it could take a very long time to undo what you've done. So,
and if you get with the wrong person, and their essence and their energy lingers with you for a very long time, and a lot of people don't realize that. And then they have to learn how to get out of that phase and relearn how to deal with things.
And that could take years of work spiritually to make that happen. So if anybody plans on dabbling and you don't know much or anything about it, please don't. Don't do it unless you know what you're working with.
I definitely will agree with that 100%.
And you're willing to take the consequences of what happens. So, I don't personally do spells for people. I make salves and tinctures and, things that help you holistically. If you're having pain, or if you have a cold or something, I can give you some remedies for that. But when people come to me asking for love spells or help me get pregnant, I'm like, so sorry. I'm not going to alter your situation, because if it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you.
Right.
And if it is meant for you, it will happen, but you have to be patient and just count your blessings that you already have and be grateful in the moment. And then everything else is just gravy after that. Just, if you force things, it either blocks your other blessings from coming in, or it can wind up causing some big issues for you if you try to force things to happen. So people just need to learn how to be patient and just let it happen as it's supposed to.
Let it flow.
Exactly.
Because like you said, if you force it, then it's going to cause conflict down the road. There's going to be some type of resentment build up in there, or something that's like, okay, you're manipulating me, or this is being manipulated.
Right. My favorite phrase to use, it's like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably shit. Just don't do it. I'm so sorry. Don't trust it.
Oh my God. That's pretty good.
I mean, it's the only way I know how to put it that resonates with a lot of people. So
it might come out something else too.
Right.
But.
It's quick and simple. If you got to force it, it's probably shit. Don't do that.
That's a good one. I always kind of refer to a phrase that I learned when I didn't really know what it meant when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But the older I got, I actually realized how much it actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I by analyzing, and that's birds of a feather flock together. And nobody really understands the terminology behind that.
Some people aren't super deep thinkers either. And we're not trying to alienate anybody either, but certain things resonate with us for a reason. And when certain things start to gel, it's usually after you've done a lot of self-reflection and extra education on certain things that you're interested in. Like, a lot of things didn't start making sense until I started my awakening.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have like a very deep philosophical way of looking at things. People say I may be an overthinker and I overanalyze, but I'm looking for every detail because I see the detail. And it makes sense. It's my thought process. Some people think X, Y equals Z. I think X equals this for a reason, Y equals this for a reason, which is why this mechanically works, and this is why Z equals Z. It's like all the details in between the lines. I've learned how to read between the lines, is what it is.
You sound like me. You always have the plan.
Mm-hmm.
You see it, and then when it's executed, it all falls into order. So
exactly.
I mean, some of my friends have told me before, I never want to get you angry, because to outthink you or to out whatever, it might not look like I'm doing anything, and I might be right there at the very end, and it's too late. So
mm-hmm.
The terminology that they would always use is like, kind of like letting you have that leash and letting you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Give you an inch and you take a mile.
I always like that. I always like that terminology. You're just like, okay, you're going to learn.
Right.
I'll just let you do it on your own time. Okay, that's cool.
It's like being a parent. You can tell your kids so many times, don't stick your finger in that light socket. That's really going to suck for you. Oh, but I want to do it. And okay, they do it. And then like, Mom, help me. No, I told your ass that was going to suck. I mean, if you don't want to listen to me and take my advice in the first place,
yeah,
what do you want me to do about it now? I told you what was going to happen.
It's not a Tesla coil at school. It makes your hair stand up.
Right.
It'll really make you stand on it.
Exactly.
Just a little more force.
Youch.
But yeah, I like some of the terminologies and the way you think, because that's definitely true.
Yeah.
I have watched some of your podcast or your YouTube.
my readings
Some of your
that I
readings.
haven't done in like a month and a half.
After I met you there and we started talking about it, I kind of skimmed through some of those and watched some of those. And I like how accurate you are. I mean, you are very accurate in some of the things you've said.
Oh, good. I'm so glad it resonates.
And yeah, I sit there and watched that for a few different ones. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was kind of waiting to see if something new would pop up. And okay, where you been? Okay.
Sorry.
But then, I'll sit there and I'll text you, and that's like, what you doing?
I know.
I'm weaving a little dragon. I thought those were cool.
I know.
I was like, I thought that was kind of neat. I mean, you seem to be very ambidextrous.
Jack of all trades.
I thought that was really cool. And then I noticed some pictures, on your Facebook page, and we'll get into a little bit later too. But reptiles, snakes, and
yes,
stuff, and I'm like, okay, I can see this. This is kind of cool. I'm like,
you're like, this chick has ADHD in the worst way.
no, I'm just kind of thinking, okay, how far does she stretch? How wide's the spectrum here she's got? And it's pretty interesting. So, I mean, I think somebody would kind of be a fool not to open the envelope, and it's like, hey, wait, look a little bit, It's like,
what the hell she got going on this week? Like,
I mean, even when I text you there on Easter, I'm making
I know.
Make some good shit.
Yeah, I tend to keep myself involved with a lot of things. First of all, I'm probably going to repost this on my YouTube so that everybody can see what's going on and what I've been up to.
It's on my YouTube as well, but I mean,
yeah,
we got a few on my YouTube channel, and the reason why I've got YouTube is because we had issues with Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a backup in case, but
Facebook can be kind of touchy.
So you can actually find this show on our show and Serena and YouTube on our channels. So
yeah, I'm gonna make a playlist of like my so with my tarot channel. Okay. It's mainly about the readings, of course, for my people and what people need to hear. And the cool thing is readings are always timeless. So it doesn't matter when I post it or when you see it. You can see the video I posted last month, like 3 years from now, and it is meant for you when you see it. Mm-hmm. So there's no like people, oh, well, this is for that date. That doesn't mean this anymore. No, it's timeless. That's just the date of when I posted the reading. Right. So the messages are always timeless. There's no specific date in mind for whenever the reading, if it resonates, it resonates. So I love doing tarot and I love the reading, but as a person who does tarot and also works with energy, shamanism and all of that stuff, it takes a lot out of you physically because you're connecting with energies that can be very strong and several at a time. And when you're doing lives and you're doing readings, I could have 50 people in my live, but they each come with like 30 or 40 spirits. So I could have close to 1,000 spirits trying to talk to me at one time. So it's a lot. Yeah, and
when me and Pam do it, we kind of
zone in, right. And so that's how I do it. But also, doing all of the other things, it just takes a lot of energetic work to put all that together. And I also run my own business as a hairstylist. So I rent a booth. So I have that. And then I work at another salon, and I have friends that are having babies right now. And I'm in the middle of finding my forever home. And like, just things are like absolutely upside down right now. So I decided after March, I'm probably just going to chill for a little bit. I did a tarot party yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I read for about 7 people. It was a fun little gathering. So things locally around me, I'll do those. And then people are booking on my website, which is awesome. So I'll take care of those readings, no problem.
Right.
But right now, like the YouTube and the social media stuff, it's a lot. So just trying to get my balance back and get my situation figured out. And then when I finally get myself settled, nothing is ever really settled. But when I get more into a comfortable space, I'll be able to get on live and, do my readings again and
Where
start posting
everything,
videos.
all your energy's kind of flowing at a calm instead of.
Yes, because to do readings, you want to be focused. If I'm not in a good energetic space, I don't want to read for you because you're not going to get the best of what I have to offer you. Because you need these messages. And if I'm not at my best, you're not going to get the messages you need. So I need to make sure that energetically I'm there for you, because you deserve nothing less when you're getting a reading from someone. But if I'm just not feeling it at the time, I'm not going to hop on live and be like, hey guys, here's your cards for today. Like, it's just, I need to be able to connect with you guys.
Yeah,
And if I'm not,
you wanted to, like you said, I guess a good terminology for it is resonate with the person, so they.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I definitely agree with that.
Exactly.
So the question would be then, how did you get into the tarot cards?
I was drawn to it. I've always been fascinated by how, when I used to get readings from people, I would just be fascinated. I'm like, wow, that is so amazing. They can tell my entire situation just from these pictures sitting on a table. And now that I am a tarot reader, it's interesting. I don't even know the card meanings.
It's
To
what
be
you
honest with
feel
you.
and how you see them.
Exactly. And to me, that's more authentic because it's great to hone your craft and learn the basics first. But
Right.
I'm not a very book person. I'm not a book studious person. I'm a feel and see it, do it person. Yes, I'm a hands-on person. And when I read, like I took a tarot course, and she sent us all of the information and the PDFs on every card and what they mean. And I was like, I am never going to remember any of this because I don't feel like I need to do that. So I got through the first 2 suits, and then I missed like the next 5 weeks of class. And then our end exam was, we had to read for each other. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so screwed. I didn't study. I didn't I didn't do any of this. So I was like, all right. I talked with my guides. They're like, just do it. You got this. I'm like, okay. So I went through, I did my thing, and I read the lady, and the teacher was like, and I'm like, what's the matter? Did I screw up? And she's like, I read for your person last night and you just said everything I said verbatim, but you had way more freaking detail. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I know what I'm doing.
That's the one good thing, Pam actually got me started into tarot cards because she actually bought me my first deck. And then I started dabbling with them. And every once in a while I'll get on there with her and read tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really uncanny when we do it. We actually pick the same cards that are similar on a lot of occasions. And
Interesting.
it's really interesting that, yeah. And if she'll pick the one for him, and then because she will take her cards and she'll do hers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take my hands over the top of my cards and I'll just feel the energy from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll start pulling cards at random, and I'll leave mine face down. And then when she's done, I'll start doing mine. And
Mm-hmm.
they are similar quite a bit once in a while. And it's interesting.
That's cool. And I really like that.
But yeah, Pam's the one that actually got me into tarot cards. And
yeah, I bought my first deck when I was like 18, I think, 17 or 18. I still have it. I use it all the time. Honestly, I really don't even need them. If somebody just wants like a quick little peek, I mean, I really don't even need them. What I use them, it's more of a tool for my clients because it gives them a visual. So, and I like it because they do give me some good insight, but technically I don't really I could sit there and scribble on a piece of paper and I did that yesterday with my group. I just stood up in front of everybody and I just started going with what I felt. And
all right, hang on a second, Mary. Our conversation and the show's been going so well, I forgot to look at the comments here. So,
I'm so sorry.
I mean, the show's been flowing really good. So I'm going to go back here and start looking through the comments. And I apologize to everybody because
sorry, guys. I can't see anything. Otherwise, I would have called it out.
The show has been going really good. And all of a sudden, I see this little blip here and I'm like, oh, crap. I ain't even watched the comments. So we have BJ Mezek.
Oh, it's BJ. I love that guy. He's so awesome.
He said, hello, Sean and Mary. That's Pam.
Hey, Pam.
We had Miss Lori Bragg. There's Pam again. Says, hello, Lori.
You know a lot of Pams.
Susan Victoria said, hi, everybody. Hey. We got Lori says, hi, Pam. Everybody's kind of chit-chatting a little bit. Hello,
I like Susan. That.
Yeah, the show's been just kind of flowing, and
they're talking amongst themselves. That's fine.
Yeah,
we've been talking,
and I'm like, I'm not even paying attention to the comments, and I apologize to everybody here.
Sorry, guys.
But the conversation's been going good, and it's good to have a show like that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got Derek McFadden from Eternal Paranormal saying hi, guys.
Hey, Derek.
Let's see. Pam's made a comment that says, I love that.
I don't know what that is. I'm so sorry. We didn't catch
I know the conversation was going good. And then the last comment she made here says, it's so awesome to be able to connect like that. So she's got the same type like we do when she connects with people, and she'll get on, And then she says, hello, Eternal Paranormal. Yeah, I apologize, everybody, that
sorry, guys.
Really
I can't see anything.
Wasn't really watching the comments because I'm sitting here watching the banner, kind of changing your thing on the bottom so everybody can see where they can find you too. And
gotcha.
I've been kind of changing that a little bit too. And the conversation's been flowing really well. And I haven't even been watching the comments. I apologize to everybody.
You have one job.
Yeah. But
kidding.
Yeah. Now I got the comments up. So if anybody would like to ask a question, I've actually watched
it. Sorry, I'm a bit of a chatterbox sometimes too. So
well, that's a good thing. I mean, it's good when you find somebody that you can communicate with.
Yeah.
And it says Vacation 07 edits. Hey guys, how's
your day going? Pretty good. How's yours? And he does a great job.
Yeah, she says you do a great job. Well, I wasn't watching the comments, and like I said, I apologize.
Hey, you're human, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing. But yeah, so that's kind of like the conversation we were having before the show.
Squirrel.
we're cracking up and laughing. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's like I said, it's really important when you get a chance to actually connect with the person when you're reading the cards, and
exactly,
because it has more meaning to them.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing about doing the social media tarot stuff, because I watch these people and how long have I been reading cards? Oh, shoot. I bought my first official deck when I was 18, but I started learning how to read when I was like 13, but I didn't know how to do. I got a little travel size thing from the shop that I always went. I always go to the Enchanted Attic in St. Charles. I call it my holistic grocery store. And I've always been drawn to that shop. So I started learning about those things before I even went to McPike, but I really got catapulted into it when I was like 19 and I had those experiences. But so I guess you could say I've been reading for like 15, 20 years consistently.
Hello, Moose. I'm not human. You having a bad day today, Moose?
Well, his name is Moose Man. You got to put two and two together.
I know Moose. He's pretty funny. And then we have you might know this one. This I'm just pooped my pants. Dookie is all over the wall.
Charming. Thank you for sharing with the class.
I don't know who that is, but okay. Whatever.
Somebody wanting attention, I guess.
Either that or it's one of those little things in there. I don't know. I've never really had any buzzing in there before, but
it's all good.
But yeah. Let's see what we got. A couple more here. Pam saying hi to Moose. Pam says gotcha, so you must answer her question. Moose is laughing, and I'm just mutilated. Yeah,
multi-talented.
Yeah, I've seen him sing a few times on some stuff.
Oh, cool. Fellow singer. Hey, Sam.
One of the things I seen him on, he should actually got on the Don Vick show once because he actually did a pretty good job when I seen him do a karaoke.
Oh, that's cool.
He should actually try that, but yeah. So what else do you do besides tarot cards?
Spiritually, metaphysically? Yeah. Okay. So I make, I'm learning about herbalism and Reiki. So I'm learning how to make salves and tinctures for people that have chronic pain, things of that nature. I do not teach classes on tarot. I've got so much going on right now. It would be really hard to wrap my mind around doing something like that. But I'm also learning a lot myself on the other things that I'm trying to. So I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing right now so that I can be stronger for my people if I decide to ever. But I'm really just still exploring my gifts and learning about myself and the different things that I am able to do. So, like I said, I'm learning how to do salves and tinctures for people that have upper respiratory, congestion, things like that. Nothing that's going to cure anything, but it'll help alleviate symptoms for people that suffer. I'm a natural healer, so it's in my nature to want to fix things for people and make it go away. And, I'm just following that. And then, I'm very drawn to animals and I connect with them really well. So as you were saying earlier with the snakes and things, I volunteer with the Wildlife Command Center. It's my happy place. I go there. It's a dirty, messy job, but at least I get to love on the animals and everything. So,
and you get to actually see some pretty cool ones. I've seen you with some. I think it was a falcon or a hawk.
Yeah,
and some pythons.
Kind
of cringing about there at first. I seen it in the video.
And so that honestly was another reason, another way I found out about a part of myself as a spiritual person is, you see a snake and you're like, hell no. 2 years ago, I would have never been within a mile of the big dude that you see me holding on my Facebook page. But we were at an event last year or the year before. It was during Viking Fest. And it was really chilly outside, and the little ones, the little corn snakes, snakes sweet spot is about 87 degrees. So when it's like in the 60s and 50s, they need your body heat. So my need and want, like their health trumped my fear. So I let them hand them to me, and I started to get to know them a little bit and understand them. And they're not slimy like you'd think they'd be. They're very misunderstood creatures, actually.
I actually like snakes.
Yeah. They're very cool. As long as you keep them fed, they would have no reason to attack or bite you unless you agitate. Like everybody's like, do they bite? I'm like, not if you don't piss it off. Like if they're fat and happy, they're like puppies. They just like to snuggle and warm up on you. So
or let it sleep in your bed and not eat for a few days and start sizing you up.
I was gonna say, one lady I've heard of that she's like, oh, I let my snakes sleep with me all the time, and I was like, honey, they're not snuggling you, they're sizing you up to figure out. As much as you'd love to believe that, they're animals in the long run. You know, anything with a mouth can bite, so you need to be careful.
Yeah,
but
I read some articles about that when they had pythons or something laying next to them when they're sleeping and haven't ate for days, and because you're gonna be the next meal,
right? I've actually heard that they're starting to use snakes in massage therapy, which makes it makes sense, because when I have Bruno, he's a 60-pound red-tailed boa, and my first time with him, it was really weird because they're like a big muscle. Their entire body is a muscle, so it's like having an arm around your neck. And he was just trying to get chill, and then he eventually settled. And then when he tried to move around, it felt like a big muscular wave, but it was like very calming at the same time. It was like a massage. And then with him being wrapped around my neck like that, he's really thick, so if I get tired, I just kind of lean back, and he's like one of those airplane pillows. You just you just chill.
Yeah.
But he's cool. He gets a little, his favorite spot. He'll coil up and he lays his head like right here, and you can just see his little face poking out from under they love my hair because it's like a huge nest to them and it's warm. So
it's kind of like a hiding spot back there in your neck.
Pretty much. But I love them. They're awesome
animals. Anywhere I want, I just hang on to her.
Yeah. Yeah, and try not to be in the vicinity of the owls or the hawks with the little snakes, because they think it's lunchtime. So trying to keep them separated at events is very tricky business, but once you get a system down, it's easy to do.
I was gonna say, if you happen to walk by and forget he's there, and then all of a sudden, why is he attacking me?
It's really funny because our 80-pound red-tailed boa is Peaches, and when we have the tents up at the Ren Fair, she gets tired sometimes, so we let her go up in the rafter and just chill up there because it's warm up under the tarp. And it's funny because people walk right underneath her and don't even notice she's there until they look up and they're like, oh my god, it's like this huge boa constrictor. But it's fun. She's just chilling up there, she's just hanging out. But then people want to poke her, and I'm like, you know what? If she rolls, I'm going to have to dive under there and catch her. Please do not poke the snake.
There was a guy I was training at an art place I used to work at, and he didn't like snakes. And we had the long rubber red snakes, they use for drawings, that you could order. And he was picking his items. And I was just kind of following because I was, training him. And I let him walk around the corner, and I grabbed one of these rubber snakes and I chucked it up the eye.
My God, that is so cool.
Oh, he ran. I had to laugh. I thought it was funny.
That can be really funny.
I couldn't resist because he'd always like playing pranks and stuff. And I was like, oh, I got this one. And I just chucked it up.
I normally have a pretty good sense of humor about that stuff. But lately, my friends have thought it's been hilarious to try and like scare the living life out of me. So right now I don't have that great a sense of humor about those kinds of things because I'm like, when's it going to happen next? Like, I'm constantly watching my back right now.
Yeah, Moose. Yeah, that's where it was. Is at that place when I used to work there.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah, it's a really great center to work for. It's the Wildlife Command Center in Imperial, Missouri, and it's a nonprofit organization. So whenever we're at events and things like that, we always appreciate the donations and people just, because it's what helps us feed them and keep them clean and their housing stuff up to date. So, it's really fun to work there. Well, volunteer there. I don't work there, but it's my favorite thing to do. So
Pam had a message. I don't know if you caught it all, and I think there was a mistype in there at the bottom. But it says, "Mary, please keep doing what you're doing. You have a great outlook on, and you are very informative. Love your description about how difficult it is to listen to many voices at the same time during readings. A lot of people don't understand that. Also, you have to be 100% connected. I'm stealing your line about pushing it, and I think there's a mistype here. Love it."
thank you. I'm glad I could give you that little gem there, Pam.
Yeah. Pam's a night owl. Pam
So am I.
Yeah. Me and Pam's been up on podcasts till 3:00 in the morning sometimes.
Wow.
Well, we'll start a little light. She's like the night owl. She'll get the night owl crew and we'll get on there, and yeah, she'll keep you up there. She said, "My new line." She said,
"Her new line
for you."
You got to push it. It's probably shit.
Yeah. And she says she never sleeps, and that's true because she'll call me every once in a while, and I'm like, "Yep." Mm-hmm. So
I usually pass out between 1 and 3 in the morning. I'm always up.
Well, one time I had to tap out. I mean, it was on a work night, and we started late, and the conversation's going good like it is with this one, and the stuff. And we all just kept talking and talking and talking. The show kept going. And I was like, "Bam, I'm tapping out tonight." And I said, "I got to get up at 5:30 in a couple hours."
Yeah.
And then
my friend Erin is having her baby tomorrow, so I can't be up too late tonight. I got to be at the hospital early in the morning. So,
yeah. Well, it is 7:48. I know you'd like to talk about a few other things, as well. You are an actress.
Trying to be.
And what shows have you been in and parts have you played?
Okay, so since 2021 is when I started getting into the industry as a hair and makeup artist and special effects artist. So
and that's actually kind of cool because we've traded some pictures on that because
you
can do some pretty wild stuff like I did with the werewolf stuff. So
yeah.
Me and you need to team up one of these days. That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, there's some stuff coming up that I could probably use some help on, but there's a premiere coming up this Saturday for the second season of a web series I'm acting in. It's my very first acting role. I'm super excited about it. It's on YouTube. It's called When Night Comes, and Kyle A. Lee plays the main character, Miles, and Shemaine Barbati is his co-star. Yeah, she plays his sister in the show. So they're the two main characters. I'm playing a vampire named Luna. And she gets to kick some butt in the second season. This was kind of my introductory role, and then he ended up wanting to write me into a few more episodes, so we did, and then I'm now a recurring character. So season 3, yeah, I'm excited. It kind of took off the way that I was hoping it would. So
was you expecting to be a vampire?
No. I'm okay with it though. I'm excited. It feels like the role that was made for me, man. I love it. It's so much fun.
I can see that. I mean, after me and you've talked, even if it's kind of like a female werewolf too, because
I'm sorry. You feel like I'm a bloodsucker?
No, it's just the fact that you can understand that personality, and I think you could sink into that role very well.
Yeah, literally and figuratively.
But I remember you saying that, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
With
Thank
all
you.
this
Yeah.
stuff
If
that's
you guys
going
want to
on.
catch up on season 1, you can go find it on YouTube now and subscribe to it. And then you can watch the whole first season, because I think in May is when he's going to start releasing the episodes for season 2. And then we should start filming season 3
And
presently.
what is the name of it again?
The name of it is When Night Comes, the web series. And it's directed by Drew Kochera. He's super talented. So everybody in this cast is amazing. Joe Hammerstone does an amazing job. Anthony, I forgot how to say his last name. It's Italian too. You think I'd know how to pronounce it?
No, we're not botching names tonight.
I know. But I mean, the cast is so much fun to hang out with. You get super close, especially since it's a smaller cast. And we're just going to have a big party and watch the whole second season on Saturday. So we're super excited.
That is really cool. One of my favorite series is Underworld. I like the vampires and the werewolves. And so I'm definitely going to check it out because I like vampires.
Yeah. There was no way in hell I was trying to squeeze into a leather cat suit, though. I'm like, we're going to have to work on some things before I try that. But I'm like, I got a leather jacket that's as good as we're getting. But yeah, it turned out really great. And then there's another one that I'm playing, a Celtic queen, Celtic warrior priestess. And it's called Pagan. And Kyle is also in that one. He plays one of the creatures that we created. My character's name is Kira. It's going to be a series as well. So we just got our Indiegogo put together, and I think it's closed out now because we met our goal, and then we should hopefully be getting all of the things put together and start getting a schedule together for the fall. So we'll start shooting that. And then I auditioned for a role I'm still waiting to hear about. She actually recommended me and asked me to audition for this one. So I'm like super excited. I don't know what it's called yet, but very little information. And then I'm also still working on some projects that started last year for special effects. The one that I'm working on now is called Red State of Mind. It's a sequel to a short that he did before. And this one was supposed to be a short, but he loved all the footage that he's been getting. So he's actually making it a feature now. So it's been almost a year since we started shooting that one. So hopefully it's going to be finished soon. But, lots of things cooking in the background is that's another reason why it's hard for me to get on social media and do my tarot readings, because I'm always on set. I'm like, I can't do tarot readings here. It's distracting. But yeah, so
that's actually pretty awesome, though, that the fact that
I'm excited
in the paranormal field. Then you gotta get a thing to do with vampires and actually kind of dig into the darker side of it, and it's like I can see that flow. I mean, I really can.
Very cool.
That would be actually cool.
It's very, the show's really cool though, and what drew me to the show was it's about witches, and it's so cool because I'm like, oh, this is right up my alley. And Kyle's character is Kyle and Charmaine's characters are very, their ancestral inheritance is which, so they're ancestrally, it's the lineages in the family.
Right.
So it's really interesting. And Drew is really good about researching the authenticity of how it, and I have so much respect for that, because as a person who calls herself a witch, in public, I call myself a holistic healer because people don't run from me when I say that.
Right.
But as a witch, to see the accuracy and, the way that he handles the scenes with the spell casting and stuff, I'm like, I'm kind of digging this. I really felt connected with that. And then I just reached out and he put up a casting thing and I was like, hey, I know Kyle and I've been watching the show and da-da-da. And he's like, okay, you got the part. And I'm like, holy crap, I didn't even have to audition. Are you kidding me?
That's really awesome.
So it's just like, it's what spirit is putting in front of me. I'm going with it. And I've always wanted to do this since I was a kid. So obviously this is something I'm meant to do. So
that's cool.
Hopefully it goes somewhere. And if it's meant for me, it will.
Well, it definitely sounds like it is. I mean, like I said, you know, with knowing what you know and then understanding it, it's easy to fall into that character because like you said, even your friend digs into the past to kind of to figure it all out and put it together and really makes it flow. And when you can do that, it's like, whoa, this is actually pretty cool.
It does. And he's such a good writer too. Like, I'm not a reader. You have to really captivate me to keep me going. And I've read season 3 like 4 or 5 times. Like, I can't stop reading. It's so good the way he writes. I just love the way he writes it. It sucks you in. And same thing with Pagan. Denise is such an amazing writer. You just can't stop. You know, you just keep wanting to read because it's like, oh, I want more. So I'll just reread what I have, you know? Like, they're just so talented at what they do. It just makes you want to be a part of it. It's so good.
Have you, some movies I've seen, and I've seen one here recently, I won't name what it is, but do you think some of the directors actually have a background or a little knowledge into some of this to where they get so they make these things actually as close as they possibly can?
You can tell the people that care about continuity. I will say that. You can tell by the quality of the information that is given and the quality of what is being done in the scene. As, like, for instance, I'm an EMT also. Right. And I can't watch medical shows anymore except for ER. And that's about it. Like, there's a few shows out there that are pretty true to content. However, I can't watch a show sometimes where I know I see them doing something and I'm like, that person would be dead right now. Like, you know, it's like, it drives me crazy to see certain people are like, it's just a show. I'm like, I don't care. This is a show about real people in these industries and they're chintzing it. They're not going the full effect of what it actually means. Like, there's a way to dramatize real life, but be accurate about it.
Yeah.
You know, like mechanism of injuries. When I take my job very seriously, if somebody wants me to do special effects for them, they get confused when I ask them questions like, what was the mechanism of injury? Well, they got hit in the head. Okay, but from where? How fast was it going? How heavy is the object? Blah, blah, blah. Because that's going to determine the type of wound they have.
Right.
And how it's going to, like, was it coming from this direction? Was it coming from that? Because I have to know which way to make the slash, you know. They're like, can't you just put a cut on their face? I'm like, no, I need the detail.
Ribs, or how the skin will peel back, or
exactly.
Blunt force trauma, or
exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're doing blunt force trauma, are you smacking them into a brick wall? And is it going to be a downward force? Because if so, they're going to need scratching as well, because you're going to be scraping that. There's so much detail that goes into thinking about. It's like, no, just put a big bloody spot on their head. I'm like, I quit. I'm not doing that. If it's my work, it's gotta be good. So.
It's kind of like when you're watching an action movie and you see a specific gun and you see a different caliber or a caliber bullet bounce out of the gun that is not even the right gun. I'm like, oh.
Exactly. It doesn't that drive you nuts?
Yeah.
It drives me crazy seeing that in these productions that actually have the money to put these things together. So I'm like, if you actually have the budget for this department, why is the wrong bullet falling out of that gun?
Yeah.
Where's your quality? It's like, I'm very, very, very.
That's like even in some martial arts movies, because I've got a martial arts background and I used to even cage fight, and I see certain things. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Or
That
some
guy,
movies about,
that's not even cool.
yeah.
Or how badly hurt he would actually be if you actually did that in
Exactly.
real life.
Right. Like, just all the same thing with movies and witchcraft and tarot readers. They all pull up the Ten of Swords or the Death card and they're like, oh my God, your future is doomed. I'm like, those are actually really positive cards. So why are we? Because it's the drama factor. I get it. But you actually want those cards to pop up in your situation because the Death card means the ending of a cycle.
True.
It's the ending of a cycle that you've been doing the definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results.
And the same thing.
Right. So when the Death card pops up, it's like, that's finally ending for you. You can start to move on and try something different this time. And you're going to see a different outcome. So you want the Death card to show up because it's not a physical death. It is a death to a situation that has been holding you back for way too long. And the Ten of Swords, it just shows me that you have been through it, but you're healing. 10 is the end of a cycle. So you're coming out of that situation where people have been backstabbing you left and right. And you're going to move on and you're no longer going to let it happen to you.
Right.
So those are good cards. But when they show those cards in movies and stuff and they say, oh, you got the ace of spades, you're going to die. It's like, stop. You're putting negativity into what we do. And it's actually a very positive thing. But they're putting a negative spin on it and people are going to believe what they're going to believe. So it puts us back several steps because we're trying to show people that this is not a bad thing that we do.
But yeah, like I said, it's very interesting on how certain people put certain things together to make it actually flow and make you be more involved with it. And
right.
Because some people will get a connection right off the bat with certain things and relate to it really quickly. And it's like, oh, this is a good show. This is pretty awesome, and how they create the characters and go into depth and detail about certain things. So
right.
That's very, very interesting.
It reminds me of the first scene in When Night Comes, like Paige's, they've both got the ancestral, the legacy powers because it's inherited, right? It's the generational powers. So it's the opening scene is her manifesting some money. Okay. And she's dancing around because it worked and she's so excited and da-da-da-da-da. And then she winds up getting sick. And then she ends up sick. And then her brother Kyle comes in, or Miles, Kyle's character comes in and checks on her. And she's like, it worked. Oh my God. And then she pulls this out of her pocket and it's just pieces of paper. So it didn't last. So, it's like, I like how he did that. It's very interesting to see how he showed that even though she wants to be so good at it, and Miles is naturally gifted at it, but Paige is just trying to keep up with him. And it's funny because she's the older sister and he's the younger brother. So it's kind of an interesting struggle to watch as a person who is a witch that really wants to be good but can't understand why they're not. And it's like, well, you're forcing it, sweetheart. I suggest watching it. It's very cool.
I'm definitely gonna check it out because I do like things like that. That's one of the things I like the best besides action movies is like vampires, werewolves, all that. And at one time I was working at the JC's haunted house for the kids, for the Cubs or the Scouts too. And that's when I sent you the picture of me and being the werewolf.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, actually.
And I actually got so involved with the character. I was actually scaring college kids and their boyfriends. They would come in couples. Their boyfriends would put their girlfriends in front of them. And I'm sitting here like that because they didn't realize I was standing behind rubber bars and I could pull them out. And then I could actually come out of the cage.
Oh my gosh.
I would sit in the darkest spot and I would sit there and I'd start growling and I'd say, I could smell you around the corner. And there was girls that would come around or somebody would come around and like, what? And they didn't see me and I'd come up real slow and I'm just started growling. And I got these porcelain teeth that lock onto my real ones. So,
yeah.
And it's makeup, and I'd let my beard grow out, and I'd let my hair go a little further, and I'd buff out the makeup where it looks like, and buff out my nose. And then they realized it's not a mask, and all of a sudden they would take off and they would scream, and I'd be chasing them halfway back down the lanes going into the other sections, and that's like,
right.
It was awesome. I loved it. I mean,
I think that's an amazing way to test your relationship. Is go to a haunted house, and if your dude puts you in front of you, drop his ass. Listen, I may be a strong, independent woman, but I don't mind a man opening a door for me every once in a while or being protective, okay?
I thought that
that's messed up.
I just like thought to myself, you're putting your woman in front of you, and I'm like, unreal.
That is the weakest thing ever.
And here's the other thing that was really super cool about it, because you get people you know, and they didn't know you're doing it, and you start calling out their name, and they would sit there and look like,
dude.
I mean, I really got into it, and it really freaked them out.
That's shit.
At the end of the year, I wish I could have got the video of it, because they taped all of that during that year I did that.
Oh man, that would be so funny.
At the end of the year, they gave as a prank award with a werewolf picture, and they got me a dog bone. And they called me the Wolf Man.
I love
it. It was great. I mean, it was
so good.
Hell and I would just get lost in the character, and it was just
so good. My son did that last Halloween. He just sat in a chair with like a blanket over him, and we made like a makeshift, because I had his hoodie on him backwards with his hood up, so it looked like a mannequin sitting there with the bowl. And he was so sweet. He didn't do it to the little kids because he didn't want to traumatize them, but the high school kids that were acting like assholes, I swear to you, they were peeing themselves. I swear there was not a wet spot on that or a dry spot on that driveway. He was so good and committed to it, and he loved doing that. I was like, dude, you're hired. You're doing this every Halloween from now on. It was so good.
I'll tell you something that's really funny. The similar thing when we were growing up, there was a scarecrow sitting on a buddy of mine's front porch. And
you too?
I thought it was his brother in there. So I went up and I started messing with him. And I cracked him. I just smacked him across the head. And I'm like, come to find out the next morning, it's his dad, and he's a cop. And I'm like, oh, well. Because I thought it was his older brother, and I was messing with him, and it ended up being his dad.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he was.
That is almost exactly what happened to my brothers. This was before I was born. It was my brother Brandon and Ben and their friend Joey. And there was a dude they noticed like a couple weeks before Halloween was setting up the scarecrow on his porch. Okay. And then they go to the house on Halloween night, and they notice that there's a sign on it that says, "We're out of town. Please just take one piece." So Joey thought he'd be funny and take the whole bowl. And dude got up. The scarecrow got up and chased him down the driveway and grabbed Joey by the shoulder and said, "I said just take one." And Joey peed himself, dropped the bowl, and ran up the street. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe. But they did that back in the day because you didn't have to worry about getting arrested. to do that to kids, but it was a great setup. They did so good with that. Oh my God, I would have loved to have
I
been there.
also used to take that bubble plastic when I was younger and lace the porch on my parents' house. So when the kids stepped up on it, it started cracking and popping and looking all over the place. And I'm like, yeah, it was funny. And then I'd be standing behind the tree with the candy after they.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I
We were
always thought
so good at that stuff when we were younger, man. You can't do that stuff to kids now. They'll call protective services on you now.
Well, the reason I started doing the werewolf to begin with is on Halloween. I would dress up every Halloween as the werewolf, and I would see the kids walk up the porch. Well, I just swing open the door, and I'm just standing there looking like that, and the kids are like,
they're like, what?
Yeah, because then they realize it's not a rubber mask; it's actually me standing there, and they're like,
right?
Did we go to the wrong place? Because I'd even paint my fingernails black, and
yeah,
authentic,
man.
Yeah, but
that's awesome. I love a good prank.
Yeah, I even got somebody to get me some wolf contacts, but I couldn't get them in.
Yeah, they're tricky. It's really hard to do my part as Luna because I have an astigmatism. I wear contacts, but they have to be fit correctly. And a lot of if anybody's watching that knows people in this industry, try to make them more available, like the colored costume contacts and stuff, make them more available to people with astigmatism because they don't sit on your eyeball right. And the first pair I got, I wasn't able to adjust. So I put them in and I'm doing my scene. And it between takes, I'm trying to make sure that it doesn't look like I'm having a seizure because I'm constantly trying to because it's moving in my eye. It's irritating the hell out of me. But luckily, I was able to find a site where I could get a little bit closer to my size for the astigmatism. So it's a little bit better. It still moves around a little bit, but I don't have to stop and go, hold on a minute, my eye's falling out. Like, oh my God, it's the most maddening thing. Trying to keep my eye in and then remember my lines and what I'm supposed to do. It's a hell of a thing to learn as the first time actress. I'm just like, this is the most irritating thing ever, but it made it work. And you just gotta fake it until you make it, I guess is what that is. But I'm trying to find a more suitable size through different sites and stuff for the future. Because when I vamp out, my eyes turn red and all that stuff. So
it's pretty fun. Different colors for different types when you're angry or whatever as well, right?
It's just the one pair. The one when I vamp out, like if I'm really mad, it might just be my contacts. But then I pop in my fangs too. So when I'm fully vamped out, I got the teeth going and the eyes and and it's hard to talk. Kyle made fun of me.
I know. They see when you got the porcelain teeth, they dig into the bottom of your lip. And they leave gashes in your lip.
I have bit my lip before by accident. And I'm like, ow, like that hurts really bad. But I found a really cool way to get them in there, like super realistically with like this moldable plastic. So they actually form to, so I just pop them right in. And they're great. They stay in and everything. But it's funny because you have all this extra material in your mouth. And Kyle made fun of me. Like, fucking vampire with a speech impediment. I'm like, shut up.
My mom used to, when I was younger, used to make retainers and stuff, and she had access to some of that stuff, and I'd fill it in and
nice.
But the problem is, like I said, when you first get used to them, they dig into your gums.
Yeah.
Those white streaks inside your gums, and then you'd go to eat something that's got salt on them. Like,
oh yeah. Those might be a little too tight, actually. Mine are pretty comfy.
It wasn't too tight. It's just that they were super long, like the.
Oh yeah, the vampire, the werewolf ones are huge.
Yeah, because they go at the top and then they go at the bottom, and then they're rubbing on the inside of your lip because you're trying to get your lip to adjust to them.
Yeah.
Because you don't want them to come down on top of your teeth. They go on the outside and they.
Yeah, it's pretty painful. I've accidentally just before, and I was like, oh, like I felt like I bit a hole in my lip.
They're pretty cool.
They definitely take some getting used to, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I love this so much. It's my favorite thing to do. I get so excited when he'll text me and be like, "Oh my god,
See you,
you
Marla.
want to film?"
Marla's on our team. She's part of
Oh,
the.
good night, Marla.
Yeah.
Thanks for popping in, babe.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
I like stuff like that. That's one of my other interests. I always liked was FX stuff and how they put it together and make things appear. And
I think what really attracted me to, like, my brother Brandon was my buddy growing up. He's 12 years older than me, but and he passed in 2018. So thank you. But he always he introduced me to Freddy Krueger, Halloween, all of the originals, the OGs, and we were always watching horror movies together. So that's kind of where I got my passion for it.
Since you do the FX stuff, did you see how they actually did Freddy Krueger's original makeup with the Jello and all that stuff? No. And it kind of made it form. One of the documentaries I seen, they actually used Jello and it kind of formed it and rolled those wrinkles and stuff in his face.
That's pretty genius, actually.
This way they made it slimy and that look he had there for a while in certain parts. But it was like they had Jello mixed in with it, like clear Jello.
That makes sense, though, because it's a really good. There's this stuff that I use for wounds and things, and it's like a 3D gel from Mayron, and it's awesome stuff. You just heat it up, and then you put it where you want the gash or whatever you're trying to put together where you want it, and then you let it set for a few minutes, and it's moldable, but it stiffens up. And it's just a gel, and you don't have to mess with prosthetics. You don't have to mess with latex. It's very handy stuff on set, actually, because it sets up so fast and it's so easy to work with. So I that's like one of my go-tos. But that makes sense now because of the gelatin. It's the right consistency for that kind of a texture you're looking for.
It made your skin look watery. And
yeah. That sounds cool, though.
Yeah. I mean, I've used liquid latex, and I always thought that was cool. If you can find the right stuff that doesn't, how do I say, makes your face go breaking out, but
yeah.
And then if you put too much in their stuff,
and that's where I try to look for different products that kind of give the same effect, if not better, because a lot of people have a latex allergy. So I have to remember that when I'm doing makeup is to make sure that my stuff is clean product and is as close to like organic, I guess you could say, but hypoallergenic.
Right.
Because there's so many people that have allergies to so many things. I don't want to show up on set and then I can't do this person's makeup because so I ask a lot of those questions as well, and they look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, these should be regular things to ask, because you don't want me to put this stuff on an actor and then have their face all broken out, and then they can't do, because you're gonna have to wind up cutting days that they're on set. Like, you have to think about these things ahead of time.
Yeah, like pre-schedule, pre-think it, so it's all laid out.
Yeah,
and
it's like the pre-screening process. I need to know what you're allergic to, because if I use a certain type of situation on your face, I don't want to make you have a miserable breakout and you're in pain, and then you might have an anaphylactic reaction. You have to be really careful with the things you're putting on people. So most of the stuff in my kit is hypoallergenic, and I don't have to worry about asking those questions too much because it's good to go.
So that leads me to a question. Just what's the longest it's taken you to have somebody set up for a part? I mean, with their makeup?
I would say not really much longer than like 30 minutes or so, depending on what they're wanting. If there's a lot of injuries, it could take upwards of an hour. But I've never really worked on anything where it takes like 6 hours to get someone into like a full body mask, all that. I've mainly been working with like cuts and injuries and a lot of blood work. So I've made a blood squib with the help of my friend Zach Elliston. I think his name is. He's a really talented special effects person too, and he gave me some pointers on how to make a squib rig for when somebody gets shot. It just it like makes it look like it's pretty intense, and it's a really great idea because it's like super mobile, and you don't have to worry about. It's like a CO2 tank, so it's very interesting. I actually have that on my TikTok when I was testing it out the first time I made it, but it came in very handy.
So also, what would be the coolest thing you've worked on? Or can you say?
I could no sooner choose a favorite star in the heavens. I mean, I'm so in love with all the things I've worked on. I can't really pick one. Man, I'm really digging the Red State of Mind stuff. Fee is an extremely talented director and lighting strategist, and he's all about open suggestions, and he lets me do my thing. He doesn't try to micromanage or control what I'm doing. He just tells me what he wants, and then I run with it. And then he's like, I have no notes. I'm like, yay! I'm so glad. So I've done a big slash on him here, one on his arm. I've done bruising. There's a lot of martial arts in this one. You'll love this one when it comes out because he's actually a martial artist, and the person that is acting with him was a wrestler. So there's a lot of really good fight scenes in this. He let me do the gunshot thing, so that was a lot of fun to execute. Although, I kind of got it all over the ceiling and the walls. So we had to repaint the place where we were shooting. It was. I'm all about how to get the job done, but I never really think about where and how I'm going to have to clean something up.
Hey, you did get the point across. It did do what its purpose was. And it did make the scene. So you did your job right. So that's a good thing.
It looked amazing because people walked in, they're like, oh my God, did someone die? I was like, no. It's just it's fine. Hell of a wound.
That's cool.
It looked real as hell though. So I'm like, sweet, mission accomplished. And then I did my own face the other day for my brother. Or for my part, and I sent it to my brother, and he's like, oh my God, who do I need to hunt down? I'm like, calm down, it's fake. And he's like, the thumbnail that popped up, Jesus. I'm like, calm down. So I was like, so you think it looks authentic? And he's like, hell yes. I'm like, good, did my job.
That's good. That's cool.
I just love every project I'm on. I get so excited when I see it done, and I'm just like, oh, look at what I just did. That looks really cool. Like, I love it. It's like Kid at Christmas. It's my favorite thing.
It definitely sounds like you've hit your trait that you like in the things that you like. So
yeah, I don't work. I play.
Yeah, I had an opportunity like that back in high school, and I turned it down. But
never too late.
Yeah,
don't do that.
I had an opportunity to I sent in some drawings because I like to draw. And in high school, I sent them to a Pacific person, and they've created a movie. They've got a really popular cult movie out right now, and a lot of action figures. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to bring up his name, but I actually talked to him on the phone my senior year in high school, and he actually offered me a job, and I even got the letter for it. But the fact was, they were just starting that company. It was in New York City. And me being just out of high school and not knowing anybody and going to New York.
That's the time to do it. That's just me, though. I'm crazy. I do things like that.
I kind of kicked myself in the ass for not taking it back then. But
It's never too late to jump back in there and see what happens.
We'll see. I kind of like doing what I'm doing now with
the
paranormal and stuff like that, because I do like to help people. I like to help them understand what's going on in their house,
Right.
make them feel comfortable about what's going on, and etc. And I've got a really good team that I work with. I kind of handpicked them all out, and they're really good. And
That's important.
they've done a really good job. I mean, we had an 80-year-old woman that had some issues at a house, at a residence, and we resolved that. And I went back a week later, and she just gave me a hug, and she says, I thought you were going to find something bad here, and etc. And I was like, no. I said, if you got something bad, let me know. I said, we'll come back and take care of it. But that really made me proud, because the team, they did an amazing job that night with her, because she was so nervous, and her being an older lady. And I was like, we're just going to keep this on the down low. We're going to go in there and check this out. We're going to, and it worked out really good. And I was proud of all my team members for that, what they did. And,
good.
And I like, and like you said earlier in the discussion we had before the show, I like learning. I like to keep learning, and I keep digging and digging down the rabbit hole, I call it. But
exactly.
And I still dabble with the things I like, because I like a lot of things. Like I said, the FX stuff and the makeup, that I've dabbled with, drawings and etc.
Never give that up. I mean, if it turns into something, it turns into something, but don't ever stop your passions just because,
Yeah, I kind of figure one of these days. I mean, I've got actually 3 comic books I've drawn with 4 other people, inked, ready to go, and we've had them drawn since the mid '80s. I help write the story for that, and it takes place here where I grew up at, and it's a murder scene, and it's a vigilante type character and stuff, and there's vampires, and it's like a mixed universe of everybody. It's in there, like cyborgs and everything. So so it was kind of interesting. But we got into the part where we didn't have the money to print it. And the fact with comic book characters and stuff like that, you can take 80 to 90% of the character, change the colors of it, change the origin of it, and just walk away with somebody else's character, which I think is BS.
So you got to be really careful about stuff you create in any industry, really. But thanks, Pam. I hope I get to talk to you soon.
There's Ms. Jamie Lynn Keller. I was with her this weekend up in Galena at the convention. She invited me. We had a great time up there. Thanks, Jamie Lynn. But
keep charging forward and doing what you want to do. I mean, why not, right?
One of these days. But like I said,
I'm a Sagittarius. I got to start doing stuff yesterday. Like, I have no patience.
You just said the wrong word.
What are you?
I'll give you one guess.
I don't even know. Virgo?
I'm a Sagittarius too.
Shut the front door.
December 19th.
I'm on the 4th. So
you're December 4th? Now I'm going to really blow your mind. My mom's birthday is December 4th.
That's just creepy.
No joke.
That's different.
And here's something that's really odd. I'll give you something odder. Me, my mom, and my dad are all December. My brother, my two daughters are all October. And then my nephew is like March along with his stepmom.
That's cool.
So we're all linked in the same thing.
My brother, Ben, is February. Then my mom, my dad, and my other brother are all, no, mom's July, and then dad and Brandon and my niece are August. And then my son and my sister-in-law have the same birthday, as well as her dad, in November. I'm like, why? And then my best friend and my other friend, Kyle, same situation. I met Audrey, clicked right away. Kyle, clicked right away. They both have the exact same birthday. I'm like, ew, why? I'm like, why is this happening? I just don't get it. I'm like, why? The synchronicities are crazy.
Pam asked a question. What is October for you?
Help me understand the question.
What's significant is October to you?
It's my favorite month. I can see myself getting married in that month. And it's Halloween is my
So you're saying you want to get married on Halloween. Is that what you're saying?
No. I just love October. In general, Halloween is it's like my Christmas. It's my favorite holiday.
She goes 10.
She's trying to.
She does numerology. She's really good at it.
I need to talk to her.
She is really good at it. She can.
That makes sense because 10 is the ending of a cycle, and for some reason in October, every time it feels like a new
beginning.
Like, everything just feels new in October to me. Feels like a new start. It's kind of like with people after New Year's. It's weird.
And see, I relate to October being my daughters, and they're both Libras. That's balance.
Yeah. I'm a Sagittarius, and my son is a double Scorpio.
I don't know what my double sign is. I never looked.
His sun and his rising are Scorpio. So I'm like, crap.
Yeah, mine is December 19th. I'm a Sagittarius.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Pam knows what I'm talking about. She's like, oh, dear God. Yeah. I'm sitting here going, help me, please. Not saying anything bad about Scorpio. They're just very, very closed off people. And when they get comfortable with you is when they start to open back up. But that's fine. But I'm like a puppy. I'm like unconditional. I'm like, love me. And I'm just like, I love everybody. And Scorpios are like, I might love you. Give me about 6 months. I'm like, it's such a weird energy. But also my Venus is in Scorpio. So I have a little bit of that going on. But it's like, I don't even have words for it. I'm like, oh my God. It's weird. I'm a very communicative person and he doesn't talk at all. But he's also a 15-year-old boy. Yeah. So they don't like to talk anyway.
Yeah. Pam says Sagittarius are like that also. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jamie Lynn Keller goes, woof, woof. And then she said some Sagittarius.
Some Sagittarius, yes. I'm a big, but at the same time, like Pam said, I can also have the other aspect of that where I'm like, I'm gonna arm's length you for a minute until I really get the feel for your vibe. And then, but within 5 minutes, I can tell if I'm gonna be close with somebody or not.
Right.
So, because it's the thing as a psychic, mm-hmm. You can just read people even though they're saying and acting a certain way. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't buy any of it. Like, You see right through the shit they're trying to pull.
Yeah, and then you get that. Sometimes you get that sympathetic thing. It's like, okay, let's try this and see if you can change it a little bit and see
I don't
where it
like.
goes and test the water a little bit.
I do the benefit of the doubt thing. I don't go into it thinking maybe I can change this person because honestly, I'm too lazy for that shit. I don't care, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and see how this pans out. And if this is just a front, that's a front. But there's some people that are really good at sneaking right past you.
Oh yeah.
And oh man, it's embarrassing when that happens because I'm like, I should have seen that.
I agree. And even though you do see the signs once in a while, it's just like you try to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Yep, I've been there.
But that's a lot about following your gut, and as a reader and as a person who has the abilities that we have, it's all about trusting your instinct. And if it's the first knee-jerk thing, that's what you go with. But sometimes we push that aside because we're like, sometimes we could be wrong. But most of the times, if we don't listen to that thing right off the bat, we end up getting burned. And it's like, I knew better. Why did I do it? It's hard. It's really tricky.
Yeah. Pam says I'll have to send her the link. So after we finish this show here, she wants you to kind of stay on backstage. So
I'd love to
come on and talk with all of us. But
yeah.
Anyway, it's actually been an hour and a half. So
I'm sorry.
Hey, that's great. I mean, I'm not going to complain one bit. I thought it was a great show that we've had all this conversation and everything's run really smooth. And
Thank you, Jamie. That's so sweet.
And, me and you actually have a lot in common as well. So that's in as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great show. All right.
You're pretty too.
Yeah, Jamie Lynn and Pam are probably my two biggest supporters.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I try to share out everybody's stuff and
thanks, Pam.
Everything else. So, but yeah. So we can schedule you for another time and talk about some more stuff. Maybe
I'm down.
Maybe even have one night when you're free and your energy is flowing. Maybe me, you, and Pam can have a joint tarot readings one night.
I've never done that before. That sounds like so much fun.
All three of us can get together and do tarots.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And we'll set up a show for that one night, maybe, or something, and do some joint tarots because we've done that with David Jarvis before. Me and Pam has done that, and it turned out really well.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, like I said,
I'm interested to see how that would go. I would love to try that out. That'd be fun.
Yeah, like I said, me and Pam, we're pretty much on the same length, and then she goes more in depth with stuff, and she's really accurate on stuff. So sometimes when I get in the bind, guess who I call? No. She does it.
You know what? It's really good as readers to have people that do the same thing because it's really hard to read yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're biased to what you want it to turn out as. So it's always helpful to have people in your corner that you can just call and be like, oh my God, please look up some cards for me. I'm dying. I need some help. Like
and that's what I asked Pam to do. She does that for me, and I picked up a few for her once in a while, and we've had some long talks. And
yeah, me and my friend Amanda and Wendy, we all do that for each other too, because we're all readers. And yes, we do it as a business, but it's like a helping each other out. If you're in the industry together, we have no problems reading for each other because it's, we all need readings too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's really, really great. I mean, like I said, and me and Pam's even set up for hours doing numerological stuff with numbers.
Yeah.
We figured out some certain things with patterns and stuff. Do you know the clock pattern thing?
I have been wanting to learn so much about numerology because I see the numbers all the time and I try to look up the meanings, but I want to know, I just don't know where to start with my education on that.
Well, me and Pam one night dissected the clock, the deal with the clock 12, 1, 2, 3. There's a pattern for that. Trust me. It's me and Pam set up one night, and it's
That's
interesting.
cool.
It's interesting because however you subtract it or add it, it comes up the same number if you realize it or not.
Wow.
So
I'm not a mather, but yeah, I'm going to let you guys run me through that stuff.
Damn it. You mean you could have gotten free reading from Sean this weekend? Loved meeting you here.
Good
Mary,
meeting you too, Jamie.
could catch an end of this. Good time. Good night, all. Get some good sleep tonight, Sean. Yeah, it's been a long day, but yeah. So stay backstage here, and I'm going to send Pam a link, and we can sit here and chat for a little bit if you still got time.
Sure. Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
I really appreciate you're on the show, and it was a great show, and I liked having you on. And we're definitely going to have some collaborations, and maybe even get together and do some investigations down in that area.
That would be fun. That would be really cool. I'd really love to do that. I really appreciate you having me on today. This was fun.
Yeah, I like it when shows go really good like this, and you are a great guest, and I'm glad you came on tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I am going to set you backstage here. And like I said, stay back there, and I'm going to close out the show here, and then I'll send Pam a link, and she can join in here in a little bit.
Cool.
So, all right. Anything you'd like to shout out right before you leave, or I put you backstage? Anything you'd want to?
If anybody would like a reading from me, you can follow my YouTube. I believe the links have been ticking underneath here for a while. Go to my Facebook. If you go to my TikTok and my YouTube and all the stuff, the links to my website are on there. So you guys are more than welcome to check out my stuff, see if it vibes with you. If not, that's cool too. But thanks for tuning in, and I'm excited to meet some of you.
Yeah, like I said, we were definitely having a collaboration and do some work together.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna set you backstage here, and I'm gonna close out the show, and we'll talk a little more here in a little bit.
All right.
So thank you very much, Ms. Mary, and
thank you.
So that was Ms. Mary. Check her out. She is an actor, tarot card reader, and very talented person. So check her out, check her page out, and even her show, When Night Comes, the series and Pagan. I'm definitely going to check those out, especially the vampire one. I like that stuff. So I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and thanks for joining us. And next Sunday on our podcast, we will have Paranormal Exposure, which I happen to meet them down in Galena. We will have a discussion of what happened down in Galena. And I think Ms. Jamie Lynn Keller will also join us for a brief time next week as well. And we will talk about the conference in Galena for the paranormal that we had and some of the investigations we went on. So everybody have a great night, and we will see you next week. And thanks for watching and sharing, everybody. Ciao.